Welcome to the Business Interview. I'm Marcus Carlson. Tax dodging is back in the international media spotlight following a series of revelations in recent weeks. HSBC, for instance, has come under fire over allegations its Swiss unit helped clients evade taxes in the mid-2000s. And Mcdonald's has joined a group of other multinationals that allegedly routed profits through Luxembourg to avoid taxes. Politicians have talked tough after these and other scandals, promising to fight both tax evasion and avoidance. To find out more about where those efforts stand, we can turn to Pascal Saint-Amans from the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. He's the head of the OECD's Tax Center, and in that capacity, he's been coordinating international efforts when it comes to collecting taxes. Welcome to the program, first of all.
Thank you.
Now, as I said, we've had a string of revelations in the past few months when it comes to tax dodging. Have any of these scandals that we've learnt about surprised you?
Unfortunately, not at all. Because as regards the HSBC, we knew that there was bank secrecy in Switzerland, and we knew that it was abused by many banks, if not all the banks, because it was a safe way to hide from the taxman in all the countries across the world. As regards the LuxLeaks, we knew that rulings, very generous rulings, were delivered by a number of countries, not only Luxembourg, and that's why we anticipated that all. We launched a plan to crack down on bank secrecy years ago, and as regards Luxembourg, we provided for a solution to the G20 before the leaks themselves, so no surprise.
Okay, let's drill down on the revelations at HSBC for just a moment. Now, this is about how the HSBC's Swiss unit basically helped rich clients evade taxes. The bank now says that it's moved on, that what happened until 2008 or roundabout could not happen again. Let's listen in to the chief executive of HSBC, Stuart Gulliver.
I'd like to put on the record an apology from both myself and from Douglas for the unacceptable events that took place at our private bank in Switzerland.
Well, just to be clear, what are you apologising for?
The lack of controls and the practices which now, judged with the benefit of hindsight, we would not be at all comfortable with if they were happening today, and which have clearly resulted in damage to trust and confidence in HSBC.
Okay, that once again was Stuart Gulliver speaking in front of a parliamentary committee in Britain. His argument basically is that this could not happen again. Do you agree?
I think so. In Switzerland, for sure. Switzerland has committed in 2009 to exchange information on request. So when the UK is asking an information from Switzerland, Switzerland is obliged to exchange this information, to give this information. And now, more importantly, Switzerland has committed to automatic exchange of information by 2018, which means that all the banks will have to collect the information, send it to the Swiss government, which will automatically send it to the countries of residence of the taxpayers.
But if Switzerland and other European countries agree to an automatic exchange of information, can't banks go elsewhere to other jurisdictions?
And that's the whole question of leveling the playing field. You cannot move, or you cannot get countries move if not all the countries move at the same time. And that's what we're doing at the OECD. We have a global forum with 125 members. All the financial centers of the world are members of this global forum. And we use the G20 to put the pressure on them and tell them, you need to commit. And once they have committed, and they have all committed to automatic exchange of information, except for Panama and three anecdotal countries, Bahrain, Vanuatu, and Cook Islands. But they have all committed to implement automatic exchange of information by 2018. And thus we are not completely naive. We are going to review the progress to check how they do it in practice as of 2017-18.
So 2018, that's it?
That's it, unless the banks move to criminal activities. You will always have burglars and people frauding the different legislations. But while what they were doing in the past was legal or almost legal in the countries with bank secrecy, this is becoming illegal and fraudulent in these countries. So that's a big change.
Do you think we're going to see more revelations like the ones that we've seen at HSBC?
We may, because there is so much in the landscape that we could have more. But I think what matters is no more that picture of the past, but what's going to happen in the future.
Now, in the past few months, we've also learnt details about how multinational companies have struck deals with Luxembourg, which allow them to route profits through the country, only paying very minimal amount of taxes.
A token of appreciation they were paying.
What does that show, in your opinion, this LuxLeaks scandal?
First, it's dramatically different from bank secrecy. Bank secrecy and hiding your wealth or your income was illegal in your country of residence. Here, we're talking about legal activities. We're talking about tax planning. Sometimes aggressive tax planning, but tax planning which is legal. And what the LuxLeaks reveal is that the current infrastructure for international tax is no more fit for purpose. With globalization, the fact that you have sovereign states offering preferential regime doesn't work well because it allows big multinationals to divorce the location of their activities in high tax countries and the location of their profits in countries where nothing is happening. And guess what? Where there is no tax. And that's why we have proposed the G20 to address what we call base erosion and profit shifting. That's the BEPS project. The G20 leaders endorsed that project, which consists of changing all the international tax framework in 2 years, which is a bit crazy, but we need to move fast to have this top-down approach to get real changes.
Now, as you say, this is legal. This tax avoidance has been legal because governments themselves have agreed to these very low tax rates. Has there been a race to the bottom when it comes to taxes? Have countries basically lower their taxes in order to get business in?
It's worse than that, because lowering your taxes might be a good thing after all. What is really bad is when you offer a regime where you will host profit which is not connected with your jurisdiction, because there you have a really nasty race to the bottom, because you attract the tax base which belongs to other country, and we need to restore the place or to realign the place of the location of the activities where you generate the profit and where the profit is taxable. This is what we currently are doing, so that we end up the Bermudan entities. And so currently you have $2 trillion located in Bermuda of accumulated US companies' profit, which is crazy, which is nonsense. We need to put an end to that nonsense. Then, if countries want to lower the tax rate to attract real activity, that's something else which will be much less harmful than what is currently happening.
I want to play you another clip now, a clip with France's finance minister, Pascal Saint-Amans. He says that the international tax framework has indeed strengthened. Let's listen in.
We already have a case against HSBC for its involvement in, or as an accomplice to, this tax fraud. For us, these revelations are important, but they won't change our policy. We are determined to do everything so that all those who have cheated or helped others to cheat are punished.
All right, that was Pascal Saint-Amans, once again, the French finance minister. He basically says that things are improving. Do you agree with him, and are they improving quickly enough? That's my question to you.
Well, the answer is yes. I know it's hard to believe and many people are skeptical, but it is. On bank secrecy, I think we've made the case. We have already collected, the member countries have collected 37 billion euros out of money which was hidden in tax haven, which is now being disclosed to the governments. As regards BEPS, the fight against the base erosion and profit shifting of multinationals, we had to move extremely fast. That's why we have a plan of 15 actions to be implemented in 2 years' time, so that we keep the support of the leaders. What is new is that the leaders of the G20 have really put a lot of political weight in changing all these. They are aligned, and I think all the countries have understood that something was changing. They have seen the writing on the wall, that it's the end of this aggressive tax planning.
Are we seeing results already? Have countries been able to collect more taxes because of your efforts and other people's efforts?
We have seen some changes. For instance, Ireland. Ireland was very aggressive and offered what we call the double Irish, which was a technique to locate profit in Bermuda through Ireland. Ireland has decided to put an end unilaterally to its double Irish, which I think is a very strong signal. Luxembourg has agreed to exchange automatically the rulings that they were delivering. Same with the Netherlands and with many other countries. They have agreed a minimum standard on treaty shopping and many other technical stuff that we'll not get into the detail of right now. But we have very significant changes which are underway. A number of companies are anticipating and are dismantling their structures in tax haven as a result of that.
But are we seeing money pouring in because of this?
The money is coming.
And how much?
The money is coming next. We don't know how much. And one of the actions of the 15 actions is precisely to get the data to measure the phenomenon. We know it's big, but we don't have the figures. We need to know about these figures. So yes, the money will come in, and it's massive money.
What's the next step here?
The next step.
What needs to be done from now on?
From now on, first we need to complete the BEPS action plan.
They need to be implemented, all of your plans.
We will deliver it in November to the G20 leaders. We're halfway, so we need to complete that job. And then we need to organize the cooperation among the tax sovereignties. You know, countries are sovereign, but that's quite theoretical in a world where taxpayers are global. So we need to bridge the gaps between the sovereignty by tax cooperation. This is what we are doing, involving the tax administration, involving the tax policy makers within the OECD. And we include not only the OECD member countries, but all the G20 countries, China, India, Brazil, and now the developing countries. It's a global issue. It requires a global solution.
And do you think there is political will to actually do something about this and achieve the global solution that you were talking about? We were talking about the race to the bottom earlier. What's there to say that there's not going to be another race to the bottom?
When all the big guys agree, then you have a real spillover impact on the small guys. And this is what is happening with all the G20 countries aligned with the same goal. And why do we have this political support? It's not by accident. Because of the crisis, all the governments have increased taxes, VAT, personal income tax. And at the same time, you have stories, many stories, we've talked about that, indicating that multinationals pay hardly any tax. Politically, it's not sustainable. And that's why you have the government saying, we need to fix it. And when you explain to them that it comes from flows in an obscure international tax system, tax treaties, transfer pricing rules, they just tell you, fix it and report to us. And that's the strength of the G20. It's not always strong, but on tax, it has been strong and it's working.
For years, it seems as if the taxman has always been one step behind a multinational company or a person holding an account in Switzerland or Luxembourg or wherever it may be. Do you think those days are over now? Will the taxman catch up?
Yes, they are. Why? Because they cooperate. They talk to each other. Because Switzerland and many other countries have agreed to put an end to their bank secrecy, to limit their sovereignty, to assist the other countries in terms of implementing their legislation. So yes, the taxman now will have better tools to do his or her job, which is to collect the taxes which are owed in one jurisdiction.
All right, multinational companies have been warned. Thank you very much indeed, Pascal Saint-Amans from the OECD, and thank you for watching the business interview. Stay with us here at France 24.